Come on.
So when the temperatures climb, our pets take matters into their own, well, paws, deciding that they are done walking and hanging out in the shade.
Deciding that a toddler's water play table is a spot to get a cool drink, or demanding you give them their own ice cream. When you're a pet who cannot talk, you do what you have to do, right?
No, you do. Well, the Memorial Day weekend promises to heat back up for many of us. And while we know it's important to keep hydrated and, of course, drink plenty of water, stay in the shade, it's important to remember those four-legged family members as well who cannot always tell us when they need a break.
Indeed. Dr. Ruth McPeet is here with us now with what we need to know to help us all keep our pets safe as the summer heat climbs. And Dr. McPeet, we all want to make sure our pets get that exercise. It's all necessary. But what kinds of adjustments should we be making at this time of the year?
Well, the first thing is that you want to make sure that you're avoiding excessive exercise when it's hot outside. This is not the time to take your dog on a 5-mile hike. If it's really hot outside, you want to limit their exercise. Ideally, you want to walk them in the early morning and evenings when it's cooler. When you're taking them out, think about using things like cooling products. You can see my dog's got a cooling vest, cooling hat on. These are by Canada Pooch, and they make a number of different cooling products to keep your pets cool when they're outside. The way that they work is you wet them, and then they work by dissipating heat through evaporation. So really important to limit exercise and keep those pets cool if they're outside.
So we see videos all the time of dogs playing in pools and sprinklers, some sort of water. Could this be a good idea for them?
Yeah, definitely. Water is something that's going to keep them cool, just like we like to swim in the pool. A lot of dogs do as well. So if you have, little kiddie pools, some people will buy those for dogs. Those are great. You can let your dog swim if they know how. One thing I always recommend is that people don't assume that their dog knows how to swim. That is a myth. Not all dogs can swim. And so it's really important that you don't leave your pet alone around a pool or a body of water. If you're taking them boating or in the water, I am a huge fan of life vests. It can save their life and prevent a drowning. So just be careful around water. But sure, hosing them off, sprinklers is a great fun for dogs.
That's just a great reminder about, not all dogs can swim. Now, we generally have on shoes and don't think too much about how hot the pavement gets. But how do we know when it's too hot for our dog's paws?
Great question. If it's too hot outside for you, if you put your bare feet on the ground and it's too hot for your pets too. The asphalt, cement, and sand can get dangerously hot when it's hot outside, and it can actually burn your pet's paws. So I always recommend check the ground. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for them. If they have to go out at that time, put booties on their feet. You can see Jet's wearing his little booties. Booties are great because they protect their feet from the hot asphalt or cement.
So here at the Weather Channel, we have our own scorching car scale to remind people how important it is to never leave a pet or child in the car, even if you leave the windows open for a little bit. A lot of times there's reminders for the back seat, but a lot of times the pets are in the truck. What other tips would you say for people that maybe are bringing their dogs along, they have to stop for an errand, and what do you do in that situation?
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned this. First of all, I recommend people never leave their pet in a parked car. Even with the windows down and in the shade, the temperatures can reach dangerous levels that can be deadly within minutes. So if you can't take your pet inside with you, do not bring them. Nowadays, so many stores will let you bring your pet inside, especially if it's hot. So if you go somewhere and you get in a bind, bring your pet inside with you. Don't leave them in a car, but ideally leave them at home. It's always best when it's summer to leave your pets inside at home where they're nice and cool.
Now, when we're out with our pets, hot day, what are some of the signs that we should be looking for that our pet may be dealing with heat exhaustion?
Heat exhaustion, typically what will happen is that pets will start drooling. You may see that they're excessively panting, that they have bright red gums or their tongue looks red. They may refuse to walk, sit down, and be reluctant to move. They may get unsteady. They can collapse and they can have seizures. If you notice anything like this, if your dog looks exhausted, if they're panting more, stop whatever you're doing, get your dog in the shade, put some water on them to cool them off, and get them to a veterinarian right away. Left untreated, heat exhaustion or heat stroke can be fatal. So, very, very serious. One thing also, you always want to bring water with you. Make sure your pets are staying hydrated. There's all kinds of travel bowls. The Canada Pooch makes a really cool bowl that can be frozen to keep the water cold and cool. So, again, just bring water with you and be mindful of your pets.
Well, Dr. Ruth McPeet, thank you so much for your tips and for being with us this morning and reminding everybody what to do heading into summer,
Yeah.
and reminders about your pet.